Hi, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And this is ReDIScover, a conversation where we travel through everything that makes up the essence of who we are and how to live authentically and imaginatively.
Here, we invite you to join us as we explore and discuss a little bit of, well, everything.
From Disney to cultivating your most authentic life to deepening your relationships and talking about the real stuff.
We hope you'll find this a space that speaks to you, encourages you, and brings a little bit of magic into your day.
Hi everyone, I'm Jess.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
And welcome back to this week's episode of ReDIScover. Happy May, everyone. We are so excited to start up our new theme for May, which is based on a topic that is near and dear to our hearts. It's all about motherhood. And while we are not mothers ourselves, we have very close relationships with our mothers. We really honor and admire all of those who are mothers. And we wanted to have a special spotlight this month interviewing some moms who have made a really big impact on us.
Yes. So we started off this month with a conversation about something we talk about a lot and something you may have heard when we have guests on the show and we interview them. We talk a lot about being childlike versus childish. And I think a lot of the allowance and a lot of our personality traits and a lot of our heart investments and everything really stem from how we were raised. And as Jess said, we're both very, very close with our moms, and we are very close with each other's moms too. Yeah, we just really wanted to dedicate this month to honoring that relationship and honoring just the story of our moms and mothers everywhere.
And also this week is a little bit different. As you guys know, if you are frequent listeners, we usually record ReDIScover on the floor, but this week we decided to record ReDIScover at the kitchen island, which is where we have the most conversations with my mom, so we thought it would be the most authentic to our relationship with her and for this conversation. So without further ado, I am so happy to introduce our guest, my mom, Shari, Momma Shar.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm so honored to be your guest today, and I love this little island. We've had zillions of conversations around this little island, so this is going to be fun.
It will be fun. And also, since we are at the island today, you might hear Penny in the background because she's very active around our recording area. She likes to be involved, so
She just wants to be on the pod. She's waiting for her starring role
on her pupcast. Yes. Mom, we are so happy you're here, and we composed a list of questions that I think go through the whole story of our lives together since, my life started with you and we've grown so much. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, let's jump in.
Okay, so Mom, thinking back, what made you want to be a mom in the first place? And what sorts of emotions and thoughts were you experiencing during that transitional phase of becoming a parent?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I always knew I wanted to be a mom. I had a very exceptional mom and an example of what a mother's love is. So growing up with my mom, your Nana, and also your Nana too.
Sweet Nana.
Sweet Nana. She just always made everything really special, and it didn't have to be big things. It just was the little things. And so just growing up, I had a really good experience, and I just always wanted to have that for my children. And the transitional part, well, I think the moment you were conceived, I actually knew that happened. It's a very strange thing. I don't even know if I can put that into words, but I woke up and I felt different. I felt like this warm light. And I absolutely knew.
We're crying already. Question one.
I'm sorry, but I did.
No,
I
don't
knew,
apologize.
and it was I could actually feel it. That feeling. It was incredible, but I had no idea that I was pregnant at the time. I just woke up with that beautiful, warm light, and I knew something was so different. And so that was the beginning of the most incredible journey.
Wow. Okay, I've never heard that story, and I was like, But
That's so beautiful.
that is like the most quintessentially you story I've ever heard. That's amazing.
So when you were going from, being just yourself and going through your life and then becoming a parent, were you just excited the whole time? Was there anything that was like overwhelming to you, or were you just like ready to jump all in on becoming a mom?
Oh, I was ready to jump all in. Dad and I got married in 1990, and you were born in 93. So we had some time, and we always knew we wanted to have children. We got married at 28, and when you were born, I was 31.
Okay.
And when Jonathan was born, I was 34.
Jonathan's my brother.
Yes, he's Jess's actual brother.
He's real.
He is. I did
He's
have
pretty low key.
He is. I did have a miscarriage in between, but so you guys are about almost 3 years apart.
Can I derail us for a hot
Sure.
second? And you can tell me if this isn't okay. Can you, I don't know, you're so good at like speaking like hope and light into people. Can you speak a little bit to the like aftermath of that and how you sort of rerouted, I guess, and sort of, like came away from that? Like, were you still hopeful? Did you feel overwhelmed? Did you feel like, I don't know, hurt or betrayed in any way? Like, especially like being a person of faith, did you feel like God like forsake you in some way? How did that, I don't know, I just want to wrap my head around that.
That was a really hard time. Well, it happened after I had Jess.
Right.
So Jess was 15 months old already. I mean, the pregnancy wasn't easy. Like, there was a lot of struggles in my pregnancy. I was actually with Jess on bed rest for 6 weeks. I wasn't allowed to get up other
Right.
than to, take a shower, but, don't lean over. Kind
Yeah.
of just
Right.
be very careful.
Right.
So when Jess was born, it was almost like a true miracle, because my doctor said if I don't lay there, I could lose her, because I literally gushed blood, and they thought I was, miscarrying with her.
Oh,
It was so heartbreaking. It was gut wrenching, but I just wasn't going to let go of my little baby.
I'm really glad you did.
I do, and I was teaching full time at the time, and I was like really active, and I gave up. I just said I can't come to work, and I laid there. And a lot of people said, oh, that's crazy. I'm like, no, I have to do whatever my doctor says, and I'm
Yeah.
going to do what he says so I
Yeah.
could save this baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It doesn't always work, but
Right.
I did what he said. And for 6 weeks, or maybe it was even more, but I laid there. And then I was able to finally go back to work. And when she was born, he did say to me, she's a miracle. So that was...
Thanks.
It was our miracle baby. So then when Jess was born and I had the miscarriage after she was 15 months old, it was, it's a devastating experience. It really is, because I think I was like 12 weeks. And at that point, you're like about ready to start telling people, and you're all excited. And it leaves you feeling like so empty. It's a really difficult time. That was as elated, as I was to having my first baby, and then losing the second was really hard, like very hard.
Yeah.
And I think, what did I do to heal? Like, that just takes a lot of time,
Yeah.
and I remember buying like children's books and, bringing them to Father Baker's orphanage, or the place, and just saying, here, this is in honor of the little Hall baby. I just wanted to do something to memorialize that baby.
Yeah.
And I do think of that baby too, because, it's a part of you, but it's not here with you, but yet with you
Yeah.
spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard.
I like to think that the souls of the babies that are miscarried are somehow incorporated in your life. Like,
Absolutely.
even though you
Absolutely.
cannot see them, like maybe
Absolutely.
they're around you somehow, and I think that's comforting.
They're angels.
Yeah.
They are. And that, and I know so many people go through that multiple times. So, I mean, I feel blessed that, the next pregnancy I had was Jonathan in 1996. And I had slight bed rest with him, but everything was fine. You both came a little early. You couldn't wait to get here. Yeah.
I am very eager sometimes.
Yes. So, but I have to say, when, you think back in your life, and you love when you're growing up, you love your your parents and your siblings, and you love your friends. And then I have to say, though, when you give birth, you can't explain this in words, I know, but there's a love that gushes out of you that you've never, ever experienced. Like this kind of love is, I don't know what the word is.
I think that's
Unconditional.
Unconditional,
Yeah.
agape, whatever they call it.
Yeah,
It's like this love that you never knew. And I thought I loved before, but then there's another level of love that's just, you would, stand in front of a bus for your baby.
Yeah.
You would do anything to protect this baby who's now been entrusted to you.
Yeah.
It's like the greatest honor that you could ever be bestowed, really.
Wow.
Thank you. And I've always felt that from you. And
Thank you, Jess.
I think
I got pretty lucky with my
Thank you.
babies.
I think
You both
that
got lucky.
the closest I could imagine to experience that is how I feel for you.
Oh,
Oh
thank
my
you.
gosh.
Anyways,
All right.
we're getting emotional
We
here.
should have
Well.
gotten the bus and tissues.
Before we get to the next question, I know that that's not easy to talk about. And so thank you
Oh,
Yes,
you're
For-
welcome.
thank you.
being vulnerable, and hopefully that will help someone, if there's anyone listening who has gone through something like that, or knows someone who has, it just helps. Even like for me, as someone who has like a friend going through this, I'm like, how do I show up for you? Like how do I like help you grieve this, because I don't know what that feels like. So thank you
Right.
for giving
Yeah,
me
that's a tough thing
some
because you
context.
don't know. Do you say something to the people? Do you say, and I just felt like people just being there,
Yeah.
just saying, I love you.
Yeah.
Because there's no words that
Yeah.
can.
Right.
And people have lost children after they've had them for years, and that's devastating as well. Far more. It's just like, that's
Gripping.
grief.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's tough.
Absolutely. Well, a little more pragmatically now. We're going to switch gears and hopefully not. Well, actually, we can cry as much as we want to.
Yes.
Were there any tools that helped you on your journey as a parent, especially at the beginning? Like little tips, life hacks, something you bought
Any
in a
books?
catalog?
So funny because, well, of course, I relied on my mom's knowledge, but
Yes.
I felt like I had to take this, on by myself. So, this book is probably still out there, but I read from front to back cover What to Expect When You're Expecting. Is that still out there?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard of
It
that.
Okay, it was like my little mommy Bible at the time, and I would go, and it would be by like week or
Yeah.
by month, and like you would know what's happening. And I remember reading that, it's a certain amount of weeks your body is going through, like you're working as hard as somebody climbing a mountain, and I was like, no wonder I'm so tired because the beginning you're very very tired.
Yeah.
So that book was full of information, and it would tell you just how big the baby was at that time, and like it was so cool to follow that. Then after that, I got the What to Expect in the First Year. It was a great series. The funny thing is, babies don't come with a manual.
No,
When
right.
they're born, like in the hospital.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like, okay, you're only there for a very short time.
Right.
And then they hand you this beautiful baby and they say, okay, thank you, goodbye. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Help.
Can you show me how to change a diaper? Because I was like, I didn't really babysit, or,
Right.
I wasn't exposed to babies
That's fair.
until,
Yeah.
right? So then I remember the nurse showing me, and so I was neurotic. I didn't want to break you. I didn't want to do anything wrong. And I was
Yeah.
like so crazy. So, but that didn't last long. I mean, you can't really do anything wrong. You've just got to love your baby.
Yeah. You just have to surrender a
and
little bit.
surrender to God and
Yeah.
know that everything works out.
Yeah.
But it was a comical feeling to walk out feeling like, wait a minute, there is no manual.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so funny.
At least if people are hearing this, like, you're not alone. Because I think a lot of kids our age look at our parents and they're like, wow, how do they do that? But the reality is, like, you guys are just human too, and like you had to learn. So
it's the best on the job training.
yeah, right.
Hands on.
Absolutely. So, next question. So, as you saw your kids, me and Jonathan, grow up and you watched our family evolve, what were some of the highlights of each phase? So, like baby phase, toddler phase, school, teen, college, adult.
Ooh, that's a great question. That just, your whole life flashes in front of you when you say that.
I know.
Okay,
it went
so
by so fast.
I guess like the story about walking out of the hospital, and I remember I was so in awe of, like, I'm taking you out of the hospital. You're going to breathe your first fresh air ever. We walked out. It was May 8th. All the blossoms were on the trees. It was a beautiful sunny day. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're in the world. You're actually here. And it's like, it was so remarkable to me. And I remember, like, I have glimpses of, as an infant, like I would just watch you sleep or just hold you and watch you, because infants make little faces. They're so cute. And like I remember just dancing, like just so happy, putting on like Barney music or whatever, beautiful classical music, and just holding you and rocking you and dancing. That's that love that you just want to protect this little being with all your heart and give them so much love. And they're just looking at you with trust, like, okay, like, because they can't do a thing, and you really just have to take care of everything at that point.
Yeah.
So then you get to the toddler years, which are so much fun. I can remember going to the little play groups and parks and playing with your cousins, and just all those wonderful times were just magical. We used to go feed the geese together. It was just so
That's
fun.
such a Western New York thing.
Isn't it though? Yes, that was so fun. And I remember like going to a library group, and Jess used to be one that would like to be free. And so at one point,
No way.
Wow. I remember her just running through the library with her arms spread and just like happy as can be. And I'm like, oh, excuse me, I have to go get my child. But
Classic.
I could picture you doing that a few times, once in the mall and on the beach, like you just would run with your arms out like so happy. So, all right, toddler years, then going to school. And every mom out there, I think, knows this feeling when you drop your child off for the first
My
time.
mom talks about it too.
Yeah, you'll never forget that feeling. And it's like you were so excited. It's such a bittersweet moment. You're so happy for them to walk in the door. And yet there's this big lump in your throat because you're handing your child over now for like a big part of the day. And up to this point, it's just been your little family, And so Jess was always very hesitant before entering a situation. So I remember standing with her at the kindergarten door, and she was just taking it all in. And half of you says, please don't go. And the other half of you is like, yes, you need to go. This is so great, and you're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
And then she walked in, and everything was fine, and you loved school.
Yeah, but I think that moment is why I have separation anxiety as an adult. So I'm not going to lie.
We may need therapy after this.
I go, so don't worry.
School years were just delightful. You went to a school that I used to teach at.
Yeah, which was awesome.
That was so awesome. So I could be there and be involved and volunteer.
You were the room mom a lot.
Oh, I loved all that stuff. And we, like, again, tried to make the little things really special. Like, I guess we were a little overboard, but we would make placemats for all the kids with their names on them. And we'd have little snacks. Remember the reindeer snacks out of the triangle bread with the pretzel ears?
Aw,
And it's so cute.
This is why I like to go over the top with theming on everything now.
That
Because,
makes so much
yeah,
sense now.
we were like Pinterest family
Before
with
Pinterest.
our crafts and stuff
Yeah.
before Pinterest
Yes.
existed.
That's
Exactly.
So
So those years were delightful. We met so many wonderful families and friends, and like even your birthday parties were always like over the top special. Like really, we'd have so much fun. But we did it just because we loved to share that joy, I think. Like it just was so much fun to do those things. So that didn't change much, because then at middle school, same kind of thing. Middle school years were really fun. Then your child starts to venture out and go, to things. And like as a mom, and I wouldn't say I was like overprotective.
You were a very good balance, I
tried
say.
to be a balance. So I tried to let you do everything, and I did let you do everything, but it didn't mean that inside of me, like, there weren't nuts. But I guess what I totally relied on was just trust and faith.
Yeah.
And knowing that you would be fine, and you were. And high school was when we met Kristen.
Yes.
Yes.
And I moved in.
Yes, and that was great. And so then that became like, cast parties for musicals, and we would always like, I just loved having everybody here.
Yeah.
Prom parties,
Yeah.
and it was great. And all your friends, I mean, our circle of love grew bigger and bigger because of all your friends and all their families, and they became family.
Yeah.
And I still look upon all of them as family.
Yeah, I feel like our house was the place that everyone would want to come for a big gathering, and you were like the mom everybody loved, and
thank
it
you.
it was so fun.
Yeah.
Like, it's a safe space here, and
It was, yeah.
we just made it as special as we could, whatever the occasion, small or big.
Always with snacks, right, Kristen?
So many snacks.
Always with snacks.
So many snacks.
Oh my gosh.
Mostly Nutella.
Yes.
Oh, yes. High school was just grand. And between your teachers, your friends, it was an awesome time.
We had a good time.
And then college came.
Oh,
Okay.
I cried a lot too.
Okay, so yeah, Kristen and I were a little heartbroken, but we were happy for you at the same time. So I have to say, for parents, I don't know if this is a universal experience, but the day that, it's like being at the kindergarten door. I'm so happy for you, but it's so bittersweet.
Yeah.
Like, I know this is going to be great for you. So we dropped you off at college, and I felt, I was very happy when I was there dropping you off, but that ride home is like something you can't explain again. There's this pain in I had a physical pain in my heart
Yeah.
leaving you there.
Oh.
And it was really, really hard. But I was so happy for you. Again, it's just
Right.
that kind of thing. So college is, that was really hard. But it turned out really great. Your journey was awesome. You went through a lot of changes, but each one led to another experience, and it was just beautiful, which you ended up going to Disney. So
Which benefited everyone.
it sure did. It sure
It's always
did.
a win-win for the whole fam.
And I think you two knew eventually you always wanted to be there at
Yeah.
some point. So moving you down to Disney, can I tell that story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, so through college, then Jess was, I think you were a sophomore, and it was you and I in the Penske rental truck, and
Classic.
driving all your things down. And now this is the first time that you moved away so very far. And as a mom, like, that's a major thing, that first
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Now I'm very used to it because you've been all over the world. But
It's still emotional, though. Yeah.
it is. So I remember you were so happy. Like, this was
Yeah.
the best thing happening. So then I'm driving the Penske truck, and Jess is over there in her seat. And
I know where this is going.
you know the song that came on
Yes.
from Mulan, is it? Reflections. And so Jess was singing at the top of her lungs. And that line was, what is it?
When will my reflection show who I am inside?
Who I am inside. And there was something like another line and then so Jess is there, happy as can be, and I'm in the driver's seat with huge tears just pouring down my face because I'm like, I want to be with you, but I can't, and you need to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that was a really hard moment.
Oh my
That was like a very challenging parent moment.
Yes.
But it was so good. It all turned out really great. But
It did.
it did. So I guess that's probably like each stage has different lessons and different stages that you go through. And
Yeah. I'm crying.
don't cry.
This is so cute.
Oh, my first time crying on the podcast.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
welcome.
That was your mama.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for going through that whole journey.
Oh my
I feel like
goodness.
my life just flashed before my eyes.
I know. I feel like your life flashed before mine.
But
I
it's-
was picturing tiny Jess
I
outside
know.
of kindergarten
She's
going,
so cute.
don't know about this.
Oh my gosh. I remember that moment vividly too, which is crazy.
It's funny because I think I went to school and was like, bye! I was just like, gone. Well, I think there are so many beautiful parts of this family, you guys, like, for everyone listening. This family is so pure in so many ways. But one of the most beautiful things about this story and your story is that you and Jess's dad, Brad dad, have been together for 31 years, right?
Yes.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
There's so much to unpack there, but what do you think brought you both the most success in your partnership, especially when it came to parenting?
Good question.
I mean, Jonathan and Jess are grown-up humans now.
Yeah.
Yes. Having someone like Brad that is so supportive and always, like, we always tried to stay on the same page. And he always has this philosophy that we're a team. And no matter what, we'll be there for each other. And that gives you a lot of comfort. It gives you a lot of hope. It gives you a lot of safety net.
Yeah,
So,
like a base.
Something
like a
to catch
base.
you, yeah.
Exactly. And it's not, I mean, it's not always easy. Like you have to work through a lot of stuff. Like when we first decided we were going to have kids, we both felt it was really important that I stay home with them. And that's a huge leap of faith because, you know, Brad was starting off in his career not making a lot, and then I gave up my income, but we always knew that this is what we wanted for our family.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's a huge leap of faith. But it worked because it's what we both wanted for our children, and also it freed up time for me to help Brad do the things he needed to do for work. And also I was here to take care of all the home and kids stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Which is
It's
a full-time job.
it is truly. It is. I didn't want to miss a minute. I guess I was a
Yeah.
little bit selfish in that regard.
No, but it was
Rightfully
it was
so,
what was right.
though.
Yeah, I
It-
think.
it
I think so
didn't-
many people resonate with that.
I
Yeah.
know, and I feel very, very blessed that I was able to do that and to be there, because it's a sacrifice either way. If you're a working mom or you're a stay-at-home mom, there's a lot of sacrifice. It comes back down to what's best for your kids, what's best for your family.
Yeah.
So I just feel very fortunate to be able to have done that. What was the question again? Oh, the 31 years.
Yeah. Where did you find success in your partnership? But I think
Yes,
that's
I
a
think
huge
you
point.
answered
The
it.
team. I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and that's a lesson I'm going to carry with me throughout my life. Like, even in my current relationship, I always go to that. Like, we're a team. Like, how
Right.
can we work together? And I think instead of it being a relationship, it's a partnership, and
Yes.
it transitions into that. Instead of you and me, it's us.
It's us. And everybody has to contribute 100% of themselves or it won't work.
Yeah.
You know, but Brad Dad, there's so many things when I think back, you know, he always made cupcakes with you guys. He was always in the backyard throwing the, you know, baseballs and
Yeah.
playing kickball. And
He was amazing at balancing work, but also being intentional with raising us too. Like, I never felt an absence from him, and I felt
Right.
like he was present, especially throughout our childhood. When we went on trips or vacations too, he was very present, which
Right.
was so nice. And he found a really good sweet spot of balancing his personal, like, career growth and also being part of the family
yes, absolutely.
too. You guys are a gift.
Well, so are you.
That's all I have to say. Okay, so thank you for answering that one. So the next question is, what have been some of your most cherished everyday memories? Like some of the small things that stick out to you?
Oh, gosh. Early years, just reading together is like such a bonding, wonderful experience. Like, I just love that. Just being present in the little things. Like, we would cook together, or we would go for walks, or,
Which
you know.
we still do.
We still do. And I remember, like, just walking in our old neighborhood on the sidewalk, studying, like, your spelling words or your vocabulary words. Just, like, you know, just being with each other, just being present. So it didn't have to be anything major. Doing arts and crafts, that was huge in our house.
I was going to say, our scrapbooking days were some of the biggest
Oh.
highlights to me.
That was the best.
Yeah.
Those hours we spent scrapbooking.
Hours.
Yes.
Days, really.
Yeah. So those are very happy memories.
Is there anything that sticks out as like an absolute highlight? Like something that makes you laugh or...
Well, let's see. What do you think, Jess? I'm trying to think.
This is your interview.
Yeah, Mom.
Okay.
I'll interview Jess another time.
I mean, not that this was like, I guess we laughed, but we were all sitting in the backyard on the back stoop. We had just gotten our new puppy, Pepper,
Oh,
back in the day. And so he was very energetic.
I would say.
And so we were just there relaxing. I think we were blowing bubbles or just like being on the back stoop. And he took off down the street around the back of the house all the way down to like past Brandywine. And it was awful because I was like going after him, but I had 2 little ones. You were
No.
only like, what, 5? How old were you?
I was
8
in like
and
second
5?
grade, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. 8 and 5 sounds right.
So I'm like, stay here on the sidewalk, don't move. And I'm running down the street. There's cars coming, and I had to go capture him. So no, I guess that wasn't like a good memory.
I don't know if that's a
just
highlight,
like-
but it definitely stuck out in your mind.
It stuck out
But
for.
the good news is it all worked out. We got the dog back.
We got him back. Yeah, that was just, I don't know why I loved that little backyard. I just loved being together, like having cookouts. Like, I guess there's no like, it's just the everyday little things.
I was gonna say, I think that's a perfect answer because it just speaks to like you.
Oh, thank
You're
you.
just you're here for like the simple little moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what creates the life.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
So being a mother for many people, often it becomes their full identity. And we know that the mom part of you is so very strong. But what were some ways that you stayed connected to yourself as an individual over the years?
I had a really great group of friends when you were in elementary, middle school. We used to do Pilates twice a week at my girlfriend's house. We had a teacher, T. She came in. She was
T.
awesome and taught us Pilates. But it was so much more than that. It was sharing our lives together as moms, like our highs, our lows, our tears, our laughs.
Yeah.
So that was one thing I did twice a week for many, many years. And I miss those girls. That was such a good source of support.
Yeah.
Also, I think I've always had a strong faith, so I think my faith has kept me, my identity also. But I have to mention my tap dancing.
I was going to say, I was going to mention
So,
it if you
okay,
were.
as an adult, I'm still tap dancing every Monday night now with another group of girls. And Brad, too, he's always had his special things that have kept him, like his baseball pools and drafts and
Yeah.
like football things. So, and now he shares that love with Jonathan, too, which is really cool. And travel, that's another thing we've always loved to do, I guess.
Yeah. And you guys travel a lot on your own too, which I think is really good for your marriage and yourselves too. It's always so good to travel just for your individual soul.
Yeah,
But
we
then-
actually went to Disney without you.
I
this
know, isn't
year.
that weird?
It was so strange.
I know. I was sort of like, is it everyone? No one's reacting. Okay. I guess
was
it's fine.
Really strange.
I know, but you guys had so much
We
fun.
did. We were like big kids.
Yeah, it's good. But it's also, traveling's also great too on a family level because we can be really intentional
Yes.
with making sure that we plan time to go travel together, especially when we aren't living together. So,
Right. That was a really big part of our lives too. Just being able to travel together, and we were like zoo groupies. We used to go to different zoos.
Zoo groupies.
Or we'd go
I
to
love
baseball
that.
games, or like, just they didn't have to be huge trips. They could just be simple, going
an outing.
going fishing, or it was just fun. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's
We
good.
still
So-
do.
Oh, we have so much fun. But yeah, so your Pilates, your tap dancing, your trips, and your faith. It's good to like invest yourself still into hobbies and things that you love so you can still have your personal growth
Definitely.
within the unit of a family and while being in the position of being a mom. So-
Yes.
This is kind of like parroting the previous question, but in like a more specific way. How do you balance being a parent, but also being a friend now that your kids are both fully grown? So how does the relationship sort of evolve?
Oh, I love this stage.
Yeah.
I do. I think we're always going to be mom and daughter, but I think we're always going to be best friends, like truly, like another level best friend.
Yeah.
A daughter-mother friendship. They say that like your DNA is still inside of the mom. So
Right,
there's
yeah.
that connection that
Right.
it's so special. So how do we balance it? I think it's just so much fun.
It's pretty natural, I would
It
say.
is. I would say so. It's a natural thing. And now I'm so like thrilled that you're back here for a while, and it's been so much fun having you here, Stephen here.
Yeah.
And like just cooking and watching movies
Right.
and just talking and just being together is like, what more is there?
Yeah. It's so fun, I think, too, because like you are the one person in the entire world who has gone through every phase with me.
Right.
Because you were home with me as a kid, and now like as an adult, you're the person I call and you're the person I go to. And I think it's so special to have that relationship with you because like nobody else understands me on that deep of a level.
That's so true.
You're the best confidant and the best sounding board, but also the best collaborator, like everything. We're able to come together during any phase, which is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for being my rock in my life.
Those are very kind words.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a mom, that's like hearing those words is like just the most that makes every second worthwhile. And that's, you know, I know, but it's true. And I feel that way about my mom too. Like just being able to call her, you know, it's just a mother-daughter relationship. Being a mom is an incredible vocation. It's an incredible gift. Yeah. And an honor, really. Thank you.
You're the reason I want to have a daughter someday too.
Oh, and I hope a son. And a daughter.
Either way. All right, moving on. So what do you think has been your most rewarding season as a mom, like overall? And then what do you think has been the most challenging season?
Ooh. Wow, these are so good, girls. Let me think.
We don't ever get to talk about it in this context, which another reason I love doing the podcast so much. Like we're able to talk to people on such a deeper level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like we'll talk about this like partially, but it's just so nice to have this so concentrated, you know.
And you get to keep it forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yes.
So anyways.
Rewarding. I'd say every milestone of yours and Jonathan's life. It doesn't have to be the huge things. I mean, there's always huge, wonderful moments like, oh, you got a job, or oh, you graduated from college. Those are huge and beautiful things. But it's like the little milestones too, like
the big milestones. I feel like while they're exciting, like the little ones mean more.
They do. Yeah. They do. Like just seeing when a child lights up when they discover something the first time, or those are the little rewards that are day to day. Mm-hmm. So your entire life, everything is just rewarding.
Yeah.
Challenging. That's the other part of the question.
Yeah.
I guess when you're a mom, you've got to realize that everything is like a stage. It doesn't last long. So if it's really tough, like just hang in there, and because you have to grow and you have to learn, and you're striving for your independence. And so, and I can't say that we really had any terribly difficult moments, but challenging, just, I guess, can't think of anything that's sticking out that would be like, I guess that ride down to Florida might have been my biggest challenge, but I knew it was a lesson I needed to learn, to let go and let you live your life too. So like there's a lot of lessons in everything. I guess challenging is looking for the meaning and looking for what God's will is in my life and what's best for your life. Mm-hmm. And so making that balance.
Yeah, right. I think challenging as well has been anything health related too.
Oh gosh,
because we've both gone through some things over the years, and it's just, for me as a daughter, like I think it's hard being the one in the position of like the more vulnerable, and then being like the caregiver. Like we've both had to be that for each other, and I think
you're right.
That's been really hard.
It's hard to see someone suffering and you can't do anything but be there
when
and
you
support.
love them so much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. That has. And we're working on that. Things are getting so much better.
Yeah, we are both very into the wellness scene now. But I think, I don't think we would have gotten here without those challenges. So like you said, like everything we go through is a learning opportunity, and it's helped us evolve so much. Mm-hmm. And, I'm just so grateful to be where we are now, and for us to continue to grow too.
Yes, me too.
Okay. After everything you've learned so far, there are more seasons to come.
Yes.
What advice would you give to other women who are on their journeys in motherhood, wherever they're at, whether they're new moms or they're, pregnant, or they've got like 10 kids and their hair is falling out? what
are your adult kids?
Yes. What are your takeaways?
Well, just try to be present. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, you think, oh my gosh, for the next 20 years, I'm like going to be, if you look at it as like being tied down or like it's a drudgery, it will be. Yeah. I never ever felt that way ever. I looked at it as, wow, this is so incredible. And I tried to be truly present and enjoy every moment no matter if it was hard or easy or whatever it was, because it goes so fast. And I know that sounds cliche because everybody says that, but it really does. And I was like trying to be present and it flew by.
Right.
So, and it's not like once it's over, it's like gone. You have a beautiful adult child then, and
Right.
it's life. Just be present and just love one another. And I think that's probably, I don't know, any other like practical advice. It's going to be tough in the beginning. You don't get a lot of sleep, but those days are so short and they are so precious.
Yeah.
So
Our last main question. So if you could give us some life advice or words to take with us, like as your kids, like pretend you're talking to Jonathan and me. So what would you want your children to know as we continue to grow in our lives?
wow. That's good too. All right. I think always search for the truth. Keep that at the center of your life. Like always try to see what God's will or your higher self's will be. Because I think if you do, I remember these words, Kristen, when I was your sponsor. And the bishop said to you, if you do God's will in your life, that's all you need to do, is to search for that will. God's will. What is it for your life? What is it that's you're here for? What's your purpose? Kind of find that meaning and then live it. And always keeping love at the center.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. It's like find like the nucleus of your life and then build everything out from that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then everything that comes from that will be true and perfect and good because it's
God's will.
staying true to that
Right.
core. Yeah.
Right.
And it's not like there's going to be suffering. Everybody has suffering
Oh, for sure.
in life. But when you hold on to the truth and the love, like you can get through anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I don't think that nucleus needs to be like a career or like a thing. It
Right.
can just be like love or joy, and you can build off that with things in your life experience that complement those things.
absolutely.
It's like what lights you up inside.
I think you
Yes.
have this thing that a lot of people search for, and it's this like quiet knowing, like Glennon Doyle talks about, like knowing with a capital K, like you know who you are, and why you're here, and everything that you do flows from that, and it's just sort of this peace that you
Right.
have about you all the time, as long as I've known you, because everything is just simple and joyful, and like every moment of every day is intentional, and everything you do flows intentionally, and
Thank
so
you.
it just feels like it, like and when she said like everyone wanted to be here in high school, whatever, I think that's why I was like here all the time. I just felt like very allowed to be myself here. Like I felt like I mean I grew up here, and I think that speaks so much to the home that you've created.
Thank
It's
you.
just
I love
welcoming and
Thank
warm,
you.
and like I was kind of a weird kid, but I was just allowed to be
We
free
all were.
here.
You were not.
Yeah.
And it's like an extension of my own home, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
no, thank you.
Yeah. And I just have to say too, thank you for accepting me and Jonathan and all of us.
And
like,
me.
and Kristen. But
Penny.
But really, like, thank you for accepting me through every single phase that I've been through. I never felt like I was being too much. I never felt like I was being too out there, because you just loved me where I was at. And I have changed so much throughout the years, and I'm sure will continue to. But you've just welcomed me home with open arms whenever I've needed to be here, or you've met me at like any occasion that I've needed you to be at, and you've been able to have conversations with me on any level I've needed to have a conversation. And there's just such a like accepting nature. Like, I'm not even going to say non-judgmental, like just accepting. And I think that's all I could ever want as a daughter, and just being able to be myself and not feel like these restraints from anywhere. It was just like, I'm just being, and that's enough, and I feel loved and accepted because of who I am. And you were able to do that for me.
Thank you.
And I could only ever hope to be like half of the mother that you've been to me, because I cannot even put into words what an amazing gift it's been.
I'm out of tissues.
What you literally just described, like, and I can say it, Liz, because obviously you're a person of great faith, Shari, but like that is literally God's love. Like,
Yeah.
like
Thank
You're
you.
an embodiment of
yeah,
that.
like, and I've talked about the Book of Romans on this podcast before, but like not by our own works, but like by His love.
Right,
Like we don't have to do anything to be loved. Like we can't ever do enough to be worthy of like such great love, but in every season of life and in every triumph and trial and mistake and whatever you got right, you knew when we talked about a safety net, like you are just a safety net. Like
Yeah.
you are her home plate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love you.
Through the grace of God, really, it's like you're saying, it's and to know that you're loved by God, even like that just makes me so happy.
Mm-hmm.
because it's true. There's going to be struggles.
Yeah.
There's going to be great times and hard times, but you've always got that. Like that's such a foundation.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's not me. It's just thank you.
It is you, but God is within you. So
There
that's
in
where-
in all of us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Exactly. So, all right. So we've finished our questions that are particularly for you for this episode, but we do have...
You did it.
We did it. Many tears later. We have our final 4 rapid fire questions that we ask all of our ReDIScover guests. So just the first thing that comes to mind for you when we ask these, and I love these questions. So,
Yes.
all right, we'll get started. So the first one is, what does living authentically mean to you?
Oh, living authentically means just kind of what I just said in the last question, just finding what God's will is in my life and living that and trying to find joy in every little thing and trying to look at the best in people and others around me and trying to just share that feeling of joy.
Beautiful.
I love that. If you could travel to one place anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Oh,
And who would you take with you? And
oh
why
my
would you go there?
goodness. Really, I should have looked at these questions ahead of time.
This is why it's rapid
Oh,
fire.
rapid
Rapid
fire.
fire.
Where would I go?
If you could go anywhere, don't think about COVID. Just
Okay.
in a limitless world.
Yes.
Well, I think it would be this sounds really bizarre, but my own backyard with all of you. Like can you imagine having like you, Jonathan, and all the people we've met and loved throughout the years, like just having everybody together in the backyard and having just a big old party.
So sweet and
Would be
pure.
nice. Wow,
that
you
be
don't even
great?
need a plane ticket for that.
No, I don't.
I love that though. I think especially after like the year everyone's had, like
That would be just so
Just
nice
to
just
be
to be
with-
all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cute. And
Yeah.
then
Lots of hugs.
so many hugs. And if you could go any like country or state though, where do you think you would go?
Jess is like, Mom, we have to go somewhere.
I know.
Let's
It's-
see.
It's just my travel
I'm trying
spirit.
to think. Okay, so there's one place I do hope to get to in my lifetime, but it would be Italy
Yes.
because I've never been there and I'm 100% Italian. So I'd love to go back and see where like my ancestors were born.
Yeah.
And also like I think Dad would love to go to Lebanon, which would be really cool because he's part Lebanese. That might be a cool place to go.
All right, so we better start planning that trip for
Yes. Iceland. Okay, now that you
2022.
got me thinking
yeah, here we
Iceland.
go. Here's the juicy
And,
stuff.
I've always wanted to see Switzerland. But see, everything feels so out of reach because we can't go anywhere right now.
Yeah.
Well, once we can,
Once we
let's
can.
be
But you
intentional
can
with
dream.
it.
Right.
And
Exactly. Okay, those
get
are on my
going.
list.
I love
Well,
that.
I'm glad to know them because now I know where to gauge the plan. So
Jess is like, I don't know if I'm invited, but I'm coming anyway.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
always invited.
Always invited.
What is one thing you would be doing every single day if your life were completely free of limitations?
Ooh. So I didn't have to do work or anything, just
Nothing.
like
Like,
totally.
Money's not an issue. Time isn't an issue.
What would we be doing?
What would you be
What
doing?
would you be
Oh,
doing?
me? Well, I'd want to have you and you all with me, but traveling, which would involve riding bikes somewhere beautiful.
You love your bike.
Yes,
we should have mentioned that
to
before.
ride bikes. Yes, because when you're traveling that way, you get to see how people really live, because you're
Yeah.
like on these little back roads, or you're like in little villages and towns, and you get more of a feeling for the community. So I'd like to do that. Travel. I'd love you all to be with me.
Thank you. I would also like to be there.
Okay.
Final question.
What is one childlike quality that you think would be beneficial if adults utilized it in their daily lives?
Oh gosh, that's good.
So like qualities that we had as kids that you're like, oh, like if adults had that kind of
Yes.
Or
spirit.
even from like your teaching days, like
Yeah.
just something that you noticed that kids
Oh,
had about
you know
them.
that pure trust, that look of wonder, like total trust in you that everything's going to be okay. They look at you like you're going to take care of that, and just like if adults could trust that way and surrender, like the children are so precious. They totally surrender everything
Yeah.
and expect us to just take care of them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of similar to when people get to be at the other end of life,
Yeah.
older adults, like in their final years, they have that, they kind of revert back to that total surrender and trust, because they sometimes can't take care of themselves. But so if we lived that way during our lives, like just knowing that everything was going to work out, I guess we've always said that, Jess, like, leave it in God's hands. It'll work out. Everything will be clear on what we should do. We always
Yeah.
look for that like clarity of which direction to go, or so I guess it would be childlike trust, surrender.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
No,
when we've asked this.
And I think it's such a good answer
Yeah.
because I remember, like you're saying that, like as kids, like surrendering and trusting. I remember feeling that as a kid and looking to you guys or like our aunts and uncles and not like whatever. And I'd just be like, okay, like it's going to work out. I'm not going to worry about it because like the adults have it taken care of. But now as an adult, I think I look at it as like taking that same feeling and being like, okay, God's got it or the universe has got it. I don't have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and leaning into that.
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful because it did always work out.
Yeah.
And it has always worked out. So it's funny that we get so like worried now
yeah.
that things aren't going
I
to
know.
suddenly work out, which they always do. Things can be good, things can be bad, but ultimately there's always some good that comes out of every situation.
I'm always
Yes.
like, I need a grown up.
Yeah.
But I am the grown up.
I know.
Right. So that's where you have to rely on
Yeah.
your inner
Yeah.
strength and faith.
I think, Jess, you're actually quite good at that.
It's been
But I think
lot of
maybe
work.
this is why.
yeah, no, but you know what? I struggled with it really bad around
Yeah.
like the turn of college. I think your experience when I went to college and my experience when I went to college, we both went through a lot of emotional hardship and I turned into someone who was very like trying to control everything in my life.
Yeah.
And I've had to retrain and almost reparent myself to learn how to not do
Yeah.
that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's still, I mean, that still flares up from time to time, but I think it's been one of the most freeing things and I feel a lot more like in flow with my life now when I'm able to take the hands off and just surrender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like dipping my toe in the water with that. I like do it. And I'm like, okay. And I look around like, nothing bad happened. All
Yeah.
right. We can go
Right.
in a little more. I'm a
Yeah.
little trepidatious about it, but I never regret doing it. It's just the getting there for me that's hard.
Well, because your logical brain, your human brain is like, no. And you're like, wait,
Yes.
hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have to, like I said, retrain yourself and like talk to yourself
Yeah.
like it's okay. You can trust.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
Right.
what trust is. Like
Exactly.
trusting that you can trust is a whole nother layer.
And
Yeah.
even if it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to,
Right.
realizing that it's for your good. Like,
Yeah.
I love that. This has probably been told before, but that story, like where you're behind the tapestry and it's being sewn. Your life is like a beautiful tapestry, and all you could see is the messy, threads and the knots
Yeah.
on the back side of it.
Yeah.
But God can see on the other side this beautiful tapestry
Yeah.
of your life. So everything that happens is for a reason that's going to
Yeah.
be part of this beautiful tapestry that will eventually be your journey, your life.
I'm really happy you shared that because that's a beautiful visual.
I know. It's so much better than mine. Mine is like, I use the analogy of when you're too lazy to defrost the whole windshield. So like
That's
you
still
just,
a good analogy.
you just
good
like
one.
defrost enough so you can see out the driver's side of the front windshield. All the other windows are like covered in ice, and you're like, I'll just drive slow, it'll be fine. And God's like, it's okay, I can see everything. You can only see this, like, you've got tunnel vision, but I got this.
Right, that's
not
a
that
good
I
one.
recommend driving that way. It's not safe.
Yeah.
That's a
But
good
I like
analogy
yours better.
too.
It's prettier.
I think both analogies are.
Oh, thanks.
Thank
No,
you.
I think that it's easy for people to comprehend the windshield and the tapestry. They're both very visual, and I think when you have like a metaphor like that, you're like, okay, I can take that on.
I like a visual aid.
Yeah, exactly.
Draw me a
Yeah.
map.
Yeah, so motherhood is as beautiful, and it's such a gift, but it can be hard, and there's a lot of sacrifices, there's a lot of struggles. I don't want people to think like everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah.
Because
Thanks for keeping it real.
No, it's real, and I love every stage. I can't say there's nothing that I didn't like about it, but and what I really love is the relationship we have today. I love just when you call, I get so excited, or and it's just like we share life.
Thanks for always answering the phone.
Sure. And I still call Nana, like that's, just to say, what are you doing? And it's just a mother-daughter thing.
Yeah.
Being a mother has been the greatest gift, the greatest vocation, probably the most important, I don't want to call it a job, but the most important legacy that I could leave is my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A job
Our
feels like
children.
it's not a
It's
big
not.
enough word
It's
No.
right.
to embody, because it's not a 9 to 5. You don't clock in and out. It's not something you do for the health insurance.
You
It's
are
like,
for life.
It really
right.
is a legacy. It's
Yeah.
like vocation's a much better word. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's eternal.
Yeah.
it really is. We'll always be connected through everything, and I can't thank you enough for just every stage along the way.
Thank you.
So.
In this great big circle of life.
Oh.
I had to.
Gotta throw
It's
the
perfect.
busy in there. But yes, thank you,
Thank you.
so much for everything. I can't even put it into words. My gratitude for our journey.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank
so
you.
much.
I love you both.
You're the best daughter I could have ever.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
This was beautiful.
Both of you.
Thank you for being vulnerable and like telling your story and just being honest and true. And I know you were a little nervous, and I think you did great.
You did amazing.
And Jess needs to hug her mom now, so I'm gonna wrap up this episode for us.
I love
But
I love you too.
this is so. I can't wait to do this with my mom too.
I know.
So that's a great segue. If you enjoyed this episode, next week's will not be like this at all. I'm kidding.
It is still gonna be emotional. We'll probably cry.
I will definitely cry.
Yeah,
So because we're celebrating mothers this month and our relationships with our moms, next week we're gonna talk to my mom. And yeah, it's funny because I like while I'm listening to your story, and like there's so many parallels that I draw, and like there's also just so many things that are different. So it'll be interesting to get another mom's perspective.
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad we did these episodes.
I'm
I feel
so-
like this
yeah.
is so intimate and also vulnerable, but also it's a gift and a time capsule
Yeah.
that we'll be able to keep
Yeah.
forever. So I'm just so grateful to have captured
too.
this
I'm
into
so
an
thankful.
episode.
Thank
for
you for
having
letting
me.
me sit at this island just so many times and just ramble on about whatever over the years. And thank you for being like another mom to me.
Thanks
And
for being an
thank
honorary
you
daughter.
for bringing this human into the world who I love so very much. And thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
We hope that this has just been really uplifting.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a very personal episode for Jess and for me and for Shari. And next week's will be too. But we hope that there was just some light and some positivity to be taken from it. So
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening and for being a part of this conversation. And it's one that I'm going to hold really close to my heart forever. Definitely probably one of my top favorite ReDIScover episodes we've
for
made.
sure. Honestly, same.
having my mom as a guest has been the greatest honor. So, and being her daughter is also the greatest honor. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Mom, for being here.
Thank you. I love and cherish you guys.
We love you.
I'm so happy
too.
we could all be together for this one too.
Me too. And with that being said, stay tuned for next week when we talk to Kristen's mom. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of ReDIScover.
Please subscribe and leave us a review wherever you're listening. Your reviews are what keep us going, and we'd love to hear from you.
Join us every Tuesday for a new conversation, and let us know what you think we should talk about next.
Follow us on Instagram at positively.kristen and at jessicafay508. And check out Jess's blog at theroadjesstraveled with 1l.com.
Until next time,
Stay frumpy.